guys, it's me again. Sorry if I'm doing it from a slightly different angle, as there's a few things going on with the bedroom, but here we go. As one of today's countries is Dominica, as it was the last Caribbean island said to be colonised by Europeans. Due to the first resistance from the native Caribs who settled the island in the 14th century. Called the island Watikobuli, which means tall as her body. As Christopher Columbus, with lasting poetic flair, named the day after the week. And after the day of the week which he spotted it, which was Sunday, as it was Dominica is Sunday in Italian, as he spotted it on November 3rd, 1493, and daunted by the first resistance of the Caribs, and discouraged by the absence of gold, the Spanish took little interest in the island, but France laid claim to the island in 1635 and wrestled with the British for it throughout the 18th century. And as in 1805, the French burned much of Rousseau to the ground, and since then the island remained firmly in possession of the British, who established sugar plantations on Dominica's more accessible slopes. And from 1967, Dominica gained autonomy in internal affairs as a West Indies associated state on November 3rd, 1978. On the 485th anniversary of Columbus's discovery, as Dominica became an independent republic within the Commonwealth. As the initial year of independence was turbulent, as in June 1979, Ireland's first Prime Minister John Patrick John was forced to resign after a series of corrupt schemes surfaced, including a clandestine deal to transfer 15% of the island to US developers. And in August 1978, Hurricane David, with 150-mile-an-hour winds, struck the island with a devastating force, as 42 people were killed, and 75% of the homes on the island were destroyed, or severely damaged. And yes, apparently there was a school bus in the Botanical Gardens of Rousseau. And in July 1980, Dame Eugenia Charles was elected Prime Minister. She was the first woman in the Caribbean to hold office, and within a year of her inauguration, she survived two unsuccessful coups. In October 1983, as chairperson of the Organization of East Caribbean States, endorsed the US invasion of Grenada. As Dominica's more recent political history has also been turbulent, after the sudden death of popular Prime Minister Roosevelt Douglas, or Rosie, in 2000, after being in office for only 8 months. His successor, Pierre Charles, also died on the job 4 years later. And his popular choice with young people, Skerritt, comes from a Rastafarian farming family from the north of the island, and is said to still lead to the country as of the writing of the source. And in 2004, the Dominican and Chinese governments formalized relations in 2004, and a sparkling new Windsor Park sports most cricket stadium in Rousseau is a gift from the Chinese that cost an estimated $17 million US, as Scared broke off long-standing relations with Taiwan the same year, and said on the record that China will gave Dominica $122 million US in aid. And in 2007, there was yet another hurricane, this time called Dean, hit Dominica, and hands, but the damage wasn't as heavy as Hurricane David, but there are at least 2 recorded deaths. In 2008, Dominica joined the Bolivian Alternative for the Americas, or ALBA, a regional trade group that includes Venezuela, Cuba, Bolivia, and Nicaragua. It is designed to counterbalance American trade powers. As plans for both Venezuelan oil refinery on Dominica were in the air at the time of the writing of the article that I got this from. After the refinery was announced, the tourism industry protested plans, saying that it would ruin the island's image. And yeah, moving on, there's something similar to what's been going on in Haiti in terms of legends, as in the 50s, the 60s, and up until the late 70s, tales of loups-garous and so coyotes were elsewhere. For some of those growing up in the far-flung villages of Dominica, some tales of the loup-garou and all that, very useful and sometimes terrifying entertainment. The dark sounds of the night, and it was before the advent of electricity in the villages, and many of those from the houses to house kind of thing. Young and old would relate tales of those dark evil creatures. And yeah. And according to some storytellers, loup-garous and coyotes were among the villagers, and the men were loup-garous and the women coyotes, and were living in the village and who gave their life to the devil, and in exchange for superhuman powers to do things like vanish into thin air and be transformed into fires at night, or cast spells. And the tales were said to be terrifying to a young mind with a strong sense of fear and of the dark. That was an inevitable consequence, as every moment or the whistling of wind could be one of them coming after you. As to differentiate between male and female, the coyotes were said to be labelle or smaller, while the bigger ones were said to be lalou or loup-garous. Coyotes were said to be so powerful that they had godlike powers kind of thing. As a particular coyote from La Plaine was said to routinely fly to England in one night and return before daybreak, and one such journey she entered the Queen's Palace and stole the Queen's dress. And some villagers swear by the account, as several of them recall seeing a woman wearing a dress at church on Sunday morning. But one day she kind of made a mistake, as on one of her trips and all that, she kind of passed over the church where there were some villagers waiting for her with a special concoction, as she was blown from the sky, and the next morning was found dead in the churchyard. And in another story, a carpenter was given a single piece of wood to build a cabinet for one of the villagers who was rumoured to be a coyote. And in the middle of the night, he arose to a strange noise coming from under his house, where he had placed a plank, and it suddenly hit him, as the plank was meant to kill his entire family. Getting up from bed, he crawled under the house and retrieved the plank, and he started to walk half a mile to deliver the plank back to the lady's house. As he got closer to her house, he realised the plank was becoming heavier and heavier, threatening to crush him. as he offered a prayer that went like Papa Bon Dio, Palm One, Courage para hacer car, which translates to Dear God, give me the courage to do that. Apparently it worked, as he successfully returned the plank to the lady's house, and the next day she was said to be dead. Yeah. It's like in hindsight, it's like they may be just tales and all that. And yeah, it's like, and some would say that if you touched your head, but like then it would prevent you from learning. His parents kept supplies of red lavender that were religiously applied in the form of a cross on the children's head to kind of ward off the dark powers, as children attending secondary schools in town would receive a special bath of herbs and wild weeds during the summer break to keep the spells away. So yeah. Yeah, and that's Dominica for you, and yeah, bye for now, and I'll see you very shortly.